before, 2 after. So y'all know what that means. I try to be respectful of everyone's time. All that good stuff, all that good stuff. So I am about to record. And if people drop in, they drop in. Y'all know how we do. Okay, so I'm recording. So tonight's session is essentially, it's the last career coaching session for this cohort. And 2 things, I want to give everyone the opportunity, if you feel that there were some questions that you might have gotten off the last live session for our LinkedIn optimization, our resumes, all the things that we've touched thus far. If you might have got off and like thought about, dang, I should have asked it. Tonight is the night to ask some of those questions. Oh, and Kelly, let me post your stuff in the chat. I always try to before I forget. But okay. So tonight is the night that in the event that you got off and be like, oh, I should have asked this about my LinkedIn, or I should have asked this about my resume or my interviews. Tonight is a good night to button that up as well, because it is our last career coaching session for this cohort. But the primary focus of this session tonight is essentially getting some actionable items or some advice or guidance regarding the best way to leverage your network. I know that there is a saying all the time that like your network is your net worth. And I know for myself, that's true. Like it's been a position, or there have been opportunities to where like I've gotten in rooms or gotten conversations or experiences with people based on like my rapport or working with someone or my connection with someone. But I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to talk about some of those things, some actionable items, where we're focused on being intentional with our network, but also honing in on like refining some of their job search strategy. And there was conversations centered around like the upskilling and growing within our career as well. And like I said earlier, if there are any outstanding questions that you all have regarding like the LinkedIn session or our resume session or interview session, feel free to chime in with that as well. So that's why we're here. That is why we're here. So did anybody have any questions before I hopped in with some of the things that are on top of mind for myself, but can be beneficial to everyone in regard to leveraging their network? Okay. Well, don't say nothing then. Don't say nothing. Okay.
They just shy. They getting warmed up. It's been a long day. It's been a long
Look, I keep thinking today Friday. I don't know what's up with me. I don't know. So here we go then. So Kelly, I know that one of the purposes like for this type of conversation is to be intentional about their network. I know we talk about some things. We've talked about things in the past, even like you and I, regarding like quality over quantity. Like some people think, okay, well, I can cast my net out and I want this regarding anything. But in reality, if you have a lot of connections and none of those are of quality, not saying everybody quality in some way, but quality over quantity. So what are some things that we can do in order to ensure that like when we're networking, we're being intentional with the network, and not only being intentional, but how can we make the decision on, okay, well, I might want to reach out to this person, or this person might be of an asset to where I'm going or where my goals are within my career. How can someone that's sitting like in our seats make that determining factor and to just be intentional so it doesn't seem like we're just like blindly shooting in the dark?
That's a good question. So thinking about where all of you all are now in your, now this is a new skill that you all have acquired, gone through this program and through this course, you have adopted new skills, right? And so in order to you to leverage the skills and the information that you've acquired, you have to become that person. The best way to become that person first, because it's one thing for me to move from Illinois to Georgia, and I got the same mindset as I had in Illinois. If you have the same mindset, that you had before you got into this class, you're going to get the same type of results. One of the ways that you can adopt a growth mindset is your network. And so it can even, sometimes it's your family, it's your friends, the people you grew up with. Some of you have outgrown the people you went to high school with, the college with. They're doing something else. They're doing something different. So when you think about your network, I want you to think of it as capital, money, relationship capital. They call it currency, right? And so whatever you spend, if you spend time, if you spend energy, if you spend money, whatever it is on a person, is it going to give you an ROI, a return on investment? Ooh. So this cohort here that you all are in, think about everybody. Look up and down the chat here. Have you all connected via LinkedIn? Because this is going to be over and it'll be done. I mean, y'all, 5 years from now, you're going to be like, who was that girl in that class I was in? What was her name? Because now she's a VP of something, right? And because you didn't take the time just to hit a button and network, that may be a missed opportunity. I did that years ago. I had a C-suite level, somebody I found, he worked at Staples. He came over to Macy's. He became the CIO. And because I was in my head and having that belief that, I'm just doing my job. It's not a big deal. I just want to be left alone. Let me just do my work and go home. Let me just get my paycheck and go home. I didn't know about the importance of building my network and my relationship. He is now the head over a major corporation right now. That's my fault. That's my bad. Right? Often I would go to his office. We went to lunch several times. But because I didn't keep that relationship, even if it's birthday, Christmas, how you doing? Just checking in. These are things that's going to get you to your next level. You don't know who they know. Right? And you always want to think about it, like Lorita said, be intentional with your network. The people that you follow on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. What does your feed look like? Sometimes when I go home and I'm in the bed and I'm looking, I'm like, why do I have all these things on my algorithm about, because I like to watch the cop people and the girl be stealing from Target and then she be walking around the store and I'm like, I got a whole feed of people stealing and stuff. I'm like, why? Because that's the algorithm saying, this is what you like.
Yeah, you fed them.
Like to watch. Yeah. This is what you like to watch. This is what you're telling me. So the same thing for you. These are the type of jobs you like on Indeed. Why these keep coming on y'all get the text messages. This is somebody from Indeed. Y'all get them. Same thing in your inbox, in your Gmail. Why are you getting these types of jobs? Why does your LinkedIn feed look like this? Who are you connected to? So long answer to your question, it's important because whomever you associate with, they say that you are the sum total of the people you hang around with. If 9 people you hang out with are poor, guess who's going to be the 10? Get with somebody where they're at a higher level. It's okay if you don't know because you will learn. Right? So it's very important. So edit your feed, edit your followers and friends. Those numbers are vanity. They don't pay no bills. It's a billionaire that's on Instagram. It's several of them with 103 followers. You never know it. Because he edits he's not even public. It's private. So be intentional about your network. It's important.
I like that. Because I think that we live in an age now where a lot of things are equated to, like you say, the vanity metrics. It's like, okay, what's the aesthetic? What's the aesthetic? Just being transparent, I even struggle with it with launching like my company. I can't do social media. I can't. And a lot of the way that society is now, it's like, okay, well, we want an aesthetic. We want it to look this way. They have this amount of followers. Like it in a way subconsciously increases the validity of what that information is, when in reality, it's like, okay, what's the ROI on it? Like, what's the quality of who are these people and how is this transactional? Because everything is transactional. How is this mutually beneficial for the both of us? So I agree.
For sure. And, if you're someone, that's on social media or creating content, or just if you're out there searching for employment, and they'll tell you it's volume, when in actuality, I only post when I got something to say.
Yeah.
I don't have nothing to say. You won't see me.
Yeah.
Because I'm intentional about what I'm sharing. Now, the other side will tell you post every day, post consistently, 3 to 5 times a day. You go do that.
Yeah.
But if you keep doing that and you're not making no money, is it giving you an ROI? So I only post and I only talk when I have something to say. The same should be true when you're searching for a role. You would think that if I apply 500 times, I should get some contact from somebody. But there's a ton of people in my inbox that tells me all the time, I've applied for 6 months, for 1 year, and nothing. That's because you're going by volume, and that's quantity versus quality. So you should edit your job search. Okay, let me think about this. I've only worked in Akron, Ohio at a nonprofit company, but I'm applying to Google, who's global. They're enterprise-wide. They're distributed. So the stakeholder, decision maker, hiring manager are going to look at my resume and say, oh, let me move on to somebody else because they don't have enterprise-wide experience.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that. It's not just a job title that you're putting into Indeed and LinkedIn. It's a scope of work because you ultimately have to send your resume, and what does it say about you?
Right.
Right? What does that say about you? That's what we're looking at. So that those documents, they're not for you. They're for the reader.
Mm-hmm.
They're for the reader. So yeah, it's important to think about quality over quantity. Don't put that on there if it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you worked at Macy's in inventory at 5 a.m., does that matter to where you're going? So think about it like that.
Now, I've seen an uptick of, I don't know, people call them like different things. Essentially, at a high level, they're called like coffee chats. I've seen a lot of conversations about that. And essentially, I like the way that I frame it in my head is like, okay, well, this is an informal, get to know you type conversation. What are some ways that you feel that someone should request them, and how should they navigate that? For me personally, and you tell me like you to go. But anyway, for me personally, whenever I strive to have conversations with people, I always like, I'll send them a gift card or like some a little like, hey, thank you for your time, to signal that first of all, I value your time because like you got other stuff you could be doing. So first, I think that signals like I value your time. But secondly, I think that it gives you a little leverage when you're navigating, not the space to where like, oh, I'm gonna buy your, no, do you buy your time? You kind of do, but to the space to where it's like, I value your time, but I also trying to have a conversation with you as well. Is that the most appropriate way to do it? And what are your thoughts on that?
I love informational chats. That's where you gather information, but you want to lead with value.
Okay.
Everybody wants something. Everybody after something.
Yeah.
Everybody has a hidden agenda. So knowing how you feel when people walk up to you and you just browse in the store, you don't want to be bothered. I just want to look.
Right.
The same thing. Think about that when you're hopping in their inbox. They don't want to be bothered. Guess how many other messages they have. So what can you lead with? Is it an article talking about, hey, Lorita, I saw this about data analytics in the news today. I just thought I'd share. Sometimes it's a long-term play.
Yeah.
Before you get someone on the phone, because everyone's time is precious. And right now, especially as noisy as the world is, and with everything that's going on and how busy and how fast we're moving, you want to be thoughtful about a person's time. To Lorita's point, time is a commodity. It's higher than money because you don't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So let me lead with value. Lorita, I saw this on LinkedIn. I thought this would be helpful. Mm-hmm. She's going to remember you. Oh, thank you. I can use this as content. So you're leading with value. And you might come back 3 or 4 days. How was that helpful? I just want to know. Yeah, that really helped. Thanks for sending them. Hey, would you be open for 15 minutes? I'm really trying to get into the thing. I would love to learn more about. She's going to be more open now, right? She's going to be more accessible because she gets so many, right? And imagine recruiters every single day, not just people wanting jobs, but staffing agencies wanting an opportunity to staff and events and all of that. So the inboxes are loaded. So lead with value. And because of the climate we're in, back in the day, it was a lot easier to, like Lorita was saying, buy someone coffee. That's why I call them coffee chats, like go to Starbucks and sit and have a coffee and, buy them a coffee and think. Now they even have that like LinkedIn bios where you can actually literally buy someone coffee.
Yeah.
But my recommendation is one, I do love informational chats because you literally can talk to someone if you use your questions wisely. I remember the meme that was going around about would you take $500,000 or dinner with Jay-Z? And I always say that people wouldn't know what to ask Jay-Z. They would waste their time. So your questions should be questions of intent, and it should be power questions. What can I use, right? What can I say that would be beneficial to me? So if you're going to have a coffee chat with someone, make it worth your while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leave an indelible impression. Make sure you're memorable. Lead with value. If you don't remember anything else, lead with value.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions, y'all?
I have one question.
Who's that? Sade? Yeah, that's Sade.
Yes. Oh, hold on. Hello. Okay. Oh, let me turn on my radio. So, in the future, I plan on going to like networking events. They had a couple here where I live that I've been to like once, and I just went to kind of get the feel of it or whatever. Now, would you say that it's better as far as having a connection to have like a card? Because typically people have cards when they have a business, but if I am my business, should I have that? Or would it just be more beneficial to be like, hey, follow me on LinkedIn? Or have one of those little
QR codes.
Whatever those things is. Yeah, where you just scan it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, LinkedIn has that for you as well. So if you have the app, you can go to the tab, and I can show you all that. On your phone, if you have LinkedIn app, if you go to the tab at the bottom, you have a LinkedIn code. So that's what I use instead of a business card. I'll just get that QR code, and they'll just scan it, and we're connected. So it is best to have. You want to have a digital card, and there's a ton of companies out there that you can get a digital card. You can use that. I think that would be best just because of the age that we're in, and for a fact everybody has their phone on them. What's going to happen with that card? It's going to go in their pocket or in the trash, right? So what's the point? So go ahead and connect with them, and then you take the onus of following up with them. And often another trick I do is that when I'm there, I take a picture with the person, especially if it's a networking event, because they're going to forget. They meet so many people, right? So I take a picture and I'll send it to them, and I'll say, hey, it was great meeting you, and I send it on LinkedIn. And then they'll remember face with, who the person is. And so that's another trick that you can do. Always take a picture. I always say, let's take a photo. And then you send it back to them.
Because my LinkedIn, it'll have. Never mind. I answered my question. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I like that. It's an app too. I can't think of it. It's on my phone. That it has the QR code, and then you can scan it. It has like all of your contact information that you want. It has like your LinkedIn. If you have a website, it has all of that. And it has the functionality to add like your location as well. And I cannot think of the name of it for nothing. But I got it on my phone. But that's a good question, because I, like Kelly said, I throw stuff away. I don't even ask for receipts. Like if I'm at the store and they like, do you want a receipt? I'm gonna throw it away. Don't give me that. Blink. Yes, that's it. That's the name of it. Blink. That's definitely it. But it's like you can create like a QR code, and it'll capture like everything for you. And like I didn't know that LinkedIn had that functionality as well. I didn't know that.
It's only on mobile though. You can only do it on mobile. I've done it when I do events, and I do that as an exercise. Have everyone download the app, and then because you can also see if you're in an event, if you have it on, there's a button. I have to show y'all that one day. If you have it on, and the people in that event has the app as well, you can see who's in the room. If you just look at your phone, it'll say, oh, Lorita's here, and John is here, and all of them are on LinkedIn. It'll give you a whole list of who's in the vicinity. If it's a big event, let's say Essence Fest is coming, right? And you guys go into the white event, and you're like, who on LinkedIn? Everybody will pop up on your app. So that app is a game changer, y'all. There is no, it does so much more than just the
mobile
website. Get the app.
Okay, I have a little follow-up.
Sure.
Now, at those networking type events, do you think it's best to have your, what do they want to call an elevator pitch ready about yourself? Or should they be more fluid and like just have a natural conversation to kind of fill the vibe out for it?
Make it as natural as possible. You don't want to sound like a robot, like, you know, I do this, I do this, yeah, I do this. One of the things you can do is when you're conversing, if you were to walk up to me, Sade, and we at SFS, we at the white party at the women's thing, women's business lunch, and you really want to, you know, get to know me, you can walk up, hey, Kelly, I heard what you were saying. I'd love to know more about so-and-so. I always talk about the person because everybody likes to talk about themselves, right? And so, Kelly, I want to learn more about your business and what you do. Oh, fantastic. I do X, Y, and Z and da-da-da-da, and I work with, you know, midlife professionals. You should check me out. Join my community. Do this, right? They're going to give you a lot of information. Then that's a window for you to go and say, oh, yeah, that's definitely aligns to what I'm working on right now. I just finished this cohort where I've been in. So it's natural. It's not you trying to sell anything. It just flows. But always, again, you're leading with value, and sometimes value looks like them talking about themselves. Everybody loves to talk about themselves.
Yeah, I think that's my issue because I do but I get when someone will ask that question, I'll kind of go just like, for lack of a better word, like brain dead. They'll be like, oh, so tell me about yourself, or what is it that you're into now? And then I'll start drawing a blank because I'm like, oh wow, they really were interested in what I'm going to say. And I think that's what draws me to be like, should I already in my head have some sort of script or go-to that I go so I don't look like incompetent for these people?
For sure. And there is a framework. I'll give that to you now. And it's called an I help statement. And it goes like this. I help blank, do blank, so that blank. So, for instance, I help midlife professionals do what? Transition into or navigate career transitions so that they can get the opportunities they want to pursue. So, Sade, yours can be, I help businesses. So that's your I help. I help blank, whatever you do. I help startups do what? Manipulate their data so that they can make decisions about, I don't know. You know where I'm going? So it's just I help do what? So that. That's the framework.
I like that.
It's easy to remember.
Okay. Yeah, that is. Thank you.
You're welcome, hon. You're welcome.
And I also think, to piggyback off of what you were saying, Kelly, I also think, and even to piggyback off of Sade, I think that naturally when we're asked, like, tell me about yourself, we draw a blank because we feel like we gotta, like,
you're on the spot.
Yeah. And it's like, no, baby, who are you? Like, what do you do? Who are you? And I think that if you could keep it, especially with somebody like your personality, like I think if you could just keep it to as organic as you possibly can, to the point where it does not feel like a script. And I know that I do the same thing, and just being vulnerable. Like when I first launched, I would try to do like kind of videos where I'm like introducing myself all still, and I'm like, it felt weird, like it felt cringe and weird, and I was like, I don't even know who I am when you talk like that, I don't even know who this person is. And I think that in those moments, if you could stay to as close as possible to who you organically are, I think that it helps like leverage like that anxiety that's attached to it, like remove the like the pressure to feel like I have to perform in a way, or I have to, just keep it. Who are you? Like, who are you? Okay, yourself, your core, but who are you also within your profession as well? Because when you can marry those two, that's the game right there.
Yeah. That's true. And when you're going into environments where you don't know anybody, you're just like, I'm going to go, I'm going to force myself, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to network, I'm going to do this. And you go in the room, it can be intimidating. You thinking people looking at you, and they really not. They don't care. They're scared too. They're scared too. You just go up, grab you something. I always like to have something in my hand, right? You have a glass of water. This helps with your nervousness. You have a glass of water in your hand or whatever your adult beverage is, and walk up. Hey, is this your first time here? I always start with that. Is this your first time here? Oh no, I come to these all the time. Yeah, what is it like? This is my first time here. Most of the time, most people are very, they're okay to talk to. So they'll welcome. Then you go to location. Where you from? How far you stay from here, and just get yourself comfortable. But walk up to people because everybody's scared. Sade, with your personality, it's gonna be so easy.
Ain't nobody studying her. Like,
yeah, I was like, sometimes I be scary, y'all. Like, I'll be like, oh no, I'm shy, but
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I have to put myself in the room because then that always kept me apprehensive because I guess it was like a little bit of that less confident in myself because it's like when I walk up to a person, I just feel like, hey, and then it's like, what am I going to come next? Because I don't want to mouth vomit everything to somebody, and then they be like, okay, girl, my name is Joel. Like, you know, I just told you, I told you everything about myself, but. Okay, I'm a kind of go to that plan that you gave because I like that. My thing after this is that I'm trying to get myself back into social media marketing, and so in order to create my profile, I'm going to use my own journey of how I basically built my brand as my portfolio, if that makes sense. So I have to put myself out there. I have to start saying this, that, and another so I can get that kind of engagement and those insights up to, show the people. So I was just like, I'm tired of word vomiting and then being scared to go like say hi to somebody when I know I can talk the whole bunch.
Yeah, for sure. But I think you're going to be fine. I know we talk about your personality, but I'm like that too. People think I'm outgoing, but there are rooms that are intimidating. And we don't say those things, people with our bubbly and energetic personalities. But there have been rooms I've been intimidated by. I remember I went to, it was a 7-figure mastermind, and I was outside the door, like everybody in there. Why am I sitting? But I was invited, and I remember I asked the guy, and I'm like, "Are you sure I belong here?" And he's like, "You definitely." But once I got in the room, everybody was like me.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, and I was like, and I sat in the back because I was a bit nervous because these were heavy hitters. I'm like, I don't have, 3 or 4 or 5 different franchises. I'm just at this level right now. But he said, you would have never gotten an invite if you didn't belong. And sometimes I think we can have those internal dialogues with ourselves and we think we don't belong there, when in actuality, they see the value. They see what you're doing. You don't think as much. And often when you're out there, the other thing, a lot of conferences and events, they have apps. And they'll tell you, and sometimes they'll have like a community section or whatever, and you can see all the people that's coming. I reach out. I do it on purpose to at least 10 to 20. Hey, what sessions are you attending? I'm coming by myself. I would love to. Okay, let's meet at the, you know, just do it that way. That's another thing that I'm doing. But everybody's intimidated or scared. I mean, I don't want you to think that because you're energetic, when you're comfortable, I want you to know you're not by yourself. Everybody gets scared, but you just go anyway.
Because I was going to say, when you think about it, as crazy as it sounds, and the other Sade, she's in psychology as well. But when you think about it, the fact that people feel the need to overcompensate with their personality could be directly attributed to the fact that you are scared.
That's true. That's true.
So I agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree.
And often we feel like imposters when, like I said, that guy, he was my coach, but if we've done the thing. You're only an imposter if you haven't done the thing.
Right.
He kept saying, you've done this.
Yeah. How do you recommend with keeping in contact with, let's say, okay, to piggyback off of Sade's question, you meet someone at this networking event, and they seem to be a quality connect or well connected to be a beneficial to you. How can you remain connected to that person and not seem like worrisome? Like not seem like pushy, worrisome. These folks get on my nerves. But I do want to stay to the point to where I can reach out in the event that I need to. How do you maintain that balance? And without looking weird?
I think even, one, if you're connected to them on LinkedIn, if they're posting something, you commenting, they see that.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
they'll remember, right? And so you commenting, you liking, you following up, you're just staying visible. You're staying in front of them. That's the way not to be annoying, right? Reaching out, emailing or inboxing them. Comment on their posts. If they share something, you can see if you're connected when they like something. Go and see and then tag them. Oh my gosh, this was so true. I know you, this is so you. Like, I'm definitely going to be attending to whatever, right? This is how you can stay in front of them without being annoying. And then, like I said, with the other person, it was a birthday and Christmas. I would reach out, happy birthday and Christmas, wishing you and your family, happy holidays. So I'm always staying in front of them. In my staffing business, in order for me to get clients, I would send, because I'm an avid reader, right? So I would send them a book, right? Based on their niche or what level they were at. And when you're at a certain level and those are things that you're looking into, they really appreciate that. And it's not so much that they couldn't pay for the book, but they don't have time, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I would send that. And so there's different ways that you can do that. And even when you're job searching, a thing I would love for people to do is send me candidates. You know what? Here's 3. I just finished this cohort. Here's 3 excellent. You can just link their profile. You can tell if I've been posting, hey guys, I have 3 openings and so and so. Here's 3 people that might fit what you're looking for. You didn't ask for anything, but I'm going to remember you. You helped me. And that's normal behavior, human behavior. If you're walking down the street and you slip and fall and somebody helped you up, you're so thankful. You're so grateful. You don't even know the person. That's just natural human behavior.
What cadence do you have regarding it? What advice do you have regarding like cadence for like job applications? To me, like when I'm actively out there, I'm hitting like 5 a day. Like 5 a day, try to hit like 5 a day. And I try to keep it fairly new roles because it's like if some old or dead, I'm not gonna like. I feel like it's a waste of time. I could be wrong on that as well. What is like a set cadence or something, a suggestion with you regarding like someone that is actively and aggressively trying to land a new role? I think that we live in a time now to where back in the day you used to could apply and sit. You used to could apply and like wait to hear something back, or I'm waiting on this job, and we really that really don't work today. So what are some, like, what's a good threshold for someone that's actively looking to apply and like a certain cadence?
I don't know that there's a cadence that I would recommend. I believe my philosophy is more strategy than a cadence. So what I mean by that is if you're searching and you've been searching like you've always searched, maybe the job you had prior to you being out there in the market now, and let's say it was 8 years ago, we know that has changed now based on the landscape. So not so much cadence, but strategy. Let me see what's out there. I'm going to go and I'm going to conduct a search based on, I know I want to work in tech. I know I want a data analyst position. I know that it could be it's going to probably be at an entry level or junior to mid level at best. So now you start to filter, right? I know that I have to work remote. I know that I'm okay working hybrid. So let me look in the Southeast region. I don't mind trying. First is strategy. Now people don't want to do this because it's thinking. They want to get to the action. Let me just apply. But that's where frustration comes in at. Because you're applying to every and anything, seeing what's going to stick on the wall. And what happens is you're not getting the traction that you want. But if you just spend a little bit of time, just a little bit of time, getting your list together. Maybe on Sunday you say, okay, let me look out here on LinkedIn, or let me just go to these job boards and just see, based off of, here's my level of skill. Here's the industry I know I want to work in. Let me go to ChatGPT. What else do they call data analytics? What else do they call a data analysis person? It could be a data specialist over here. Some places call it a data engineer. You know what I'm saying? So let me see what the titles are. Now you're when they ask me, Kelly, how do I outbeat my competition? This is how. How do I stand out? Because they're not doing this. They're just saying, let me see if it's going to stick. Oh, let me see if this is going to stick. And then they come to me frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
Just do the work up front. Whittle that thing down. And you'll get a real precise list. And sometimes, y'all, it's not your big companies that you know about. It could be an industrial rock
Yes.
company somewhere where they need a data person and they pay really good.
Yes.
But you're looking for the big highfalutin, everybody. Don't go for those. Go for the ones nobody think. And you know a good place? And people pay me a lot of money for what I'm about to tell y'all. Look at the stock market. Go to your Robinhood app. Look up some of them companies you ain't never heard. Waste management. You know? What do you see the waste management trucks and the things? Go there.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time because I think that there is an illusion with big tech. Like I got it. And it's like, it's okay, but these startups be paying. Like
they pay good money. They get funding for that. Yeah.
You know, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that.
For sure. And that's how you think about it. Like, where are people not going? I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, Figma. They got so many jobs out there. It's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
They got so many jobs out there. They're building AI factories. Follow that rabbit hole, y'all. They need y'all because the factory is going to hold data servers.
Yeah.
Follow that rabbit hole. Go down and see what companies are investing in this. Because one, that tells you they got money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so you know they're going to be hiring. I have a client, she reached out. Let me show you how to reach out to people. She reached out to this recruiter who was talking about what's coming. And she said, I see that you guys are looking for, I think she's in implementation. She said, well, that's something that I'm in. She said, well, we don't have the recruiter. So I don't have a job description yet, but send me your resume. She sent the resume to her hiring manager. They're interviewing her. It's not even